All right. Well, thanks for coming on. This is really exciting. I've watched your stuff for a long time, so uh, really excited. Anyone who doesn't know who Mr. Soares is, he's a writer, director, actor, and Emmy-nominated editor. So this is going to be very exciting. I'm sure he's got a
And
lot of great insight.
one of my favorite ways that I've ever heard that said, another editor called himself an Emmy losing editor, which I thought was like a
That
much
is
better way
better.
of saying
Yeah,
it.
that's actually pretty good. I'm gonna have to remember that. It almost, in a strange way, it makes it sound more impressive somehow.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I I competed for it and I lost.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like second place at the Olympics. It's like you still got silver. That's pretty cool. Um, all right. So, I guess how did you get started with filmmaking?
Well, so when I was a kid, my parents loved movies. Like they would watch movies all the time and rent movies whenever, the VHS like rental craze started. They would like rent. We didn't even own a VCR. They would like rent a VCR, and we'd rent movies and everything. Uh, so I got into movies like from a very young age, and I loved them so much that I probably by the time I was like 10 years old, I was already trying to figure out how how you make these things. And of course, I had it all wrong because there were like no DVDs or behind the scenes or anything. Like you couldn't see how the stuff was done. Uh, but I decided I was going to do it like from then on, so I wasn't sure how I was going to make it work, but uh when I was in my 20s I was still working on like the family farm,
Oh, really?
and that was when I started making stuff, pretty much right out of high school and then into my 20s. And then uh Tenaple Doug Tenaple saw something that I did, or I showed it to him. I can't remember. It's been like 25 years. But yeah, like he saw something and it was a kung fu thing. And he's like, let's do something together. And then that became Sock Baby. And then that became well known, like underground, like in the animation industry. Like if you visited Nickelodeon Studios, people were talking about Sock Baby,
Oh,
but
really?
it was like not publicly famous. So people were starting to kind of know who I was, even though I wasn't there. And then I decided to make Danger Element, um, just so I'd have something of my own that I could try to sell or do something with. And then that was kind of what led into editing cartoons. Doug TenNapel came back and he was like, "Hey, you can edit cartoons," and I didn't know anything about that. Uh, but it's like very similar to editing live action, so I got into that. Did that for like a decade, and just making my own stuff whenever I can. You know, that's kind of the crash course of how it happened, though.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. How like how many years was it from like when you started out of high school to when you started work on Danger Element?
Danger Element. See, like I graduated from high school in 1999, and I wrote the first draft of the script for Danger Element in 2006. So what is that, like 7 years?
Yeah, it's about 7 years. Yeah.
And then we started filming it in 2009, because we shopped it around and we tried to like get a little bit of money like invested in it. And we realized that that was like either never going to happen or it would take years to do. So then I was just like, let's just start shooting it. It's like we started shooting. We just made like the first 12 minutes of it. And then I was like, then we'll show that to people and maybe they'll give us more money. And that kept going on for years. But yeah, so yeah, I
Yeah.
wrote the first draft like 7 years after high school, and then a few years later we started filming it.
Yeah, that's pretty insane that people didn't just watch the first 12 minutes and get instantly hooked because that like opening like 36 seconds where it's like just you fighting and that's how the entire movie opens is honestly one of my favorite starts to any movie. Like I
I
remember
had to
watching
cut
it.
that down a lot.
Oh,
I
really?
because like I had the so I was thinking exactly what you're saying. I was like, I want to do like just a crazy long action sequence that was just like fighting. And then when I had all the stuff together and I was like, this is too much. Like this is too long. Like you kind of started getting bored, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm glad it worked.
Oh man, it's so awesome. Like I wasn't sure like what it was gonna be because like I knew it was very low budget, and then you see like the West Haven Brook logo, and then it just immediately starts the fight, and it just goes on, and I'm just like, I'm sold completely. Like this is awesome. Um, how long does it take to, or I guess how long did it take to shoot that first 12 minutes?
Let's see. There were so there's basically like two sections to that thing. It's like the indoor stuff where all the fighting is happening, and then the car chase. And I think each one of those sections took about 2 days. It was
Oh
like
man.
so like one not even like a full 2 days. Like we would only get like 6 hours or something. So like we filmed the fight that was inside the warehouse place. We filmed for like over 2 nights. So it was like we'd film for like 6 hours, like 4 to 6 hours, and then we came back the next day and did it again. And then the car chase we filmed in two sections. It was I filmed everything standing still where the car is just not moving.
Oh
So
really?
I did everything I could without the car moving, and then that gave me a list of shots that I couldn't do like that, right? So then we came back like months later and then shot all the moving stuff with the car moving.
Man,
So
that's
yeah, I would
insane.
say maybe about 4 days total.
That's
Just
like,
that for that first like it was originally like 12 minutes. I think I cut it down when we actually released the movie, but
oh
it was originally like a 12-minute sort of short, and that took I think about 4 days to shoot.
yeah, the editing on the truck scene looks great because I always assumed that it was moving, and uh I don't know, that looks really good.
Yeah,
Um,
it's moving sometimes. Uh, Basically, like if you can't see anything in the background or you can't see the ground, it's just sitting still. Because there's no reason for it to happen. We just like
right.
blow air. We had like a leaf blower blowing air so our hair would move, and the camera would just like we just vibrate the camera a little bit,
Huh. Yeah, it
and that was
worked.
yeah. It's more intense than actually having the thing moving, and it
Um,
just looks better.
yeah, I don't know. Like I gotta watch it again because like that totally fooled me. Um, how like because I know you have a shot list mostly when you do fight scenes. How detailed are those? Like, is it pretty synced to like how long it's gonna run, or is it a
The At first, when we did Sock Baby, I did actual storyboards, and the storyboards would show every single move.
oh really?
But then I realized like I was the only person looking at them,
Oh
so I stopped doing that because it was time consuming. And then I just started doing shot lists, and it was the same idea. I would just write everything that would happen in every shot. So I'd write every single move. So I'd come up with all the moves in a shot, and then I'd just write them down and put them in a box and be like, "That's going to be a shot." And then I'd have to interpret it. We'd get there to shoot it, and I'd have to look at it and remember what I was thinking,
oh
and like interpret it and try to explain it to everybody else because nobody could understand what any of it meant. It's totally the opposite of the purpose of like a storyboard, where people are supposed to be able to look at the storyboard and get it. My
yeah.
stuff was just like personal notes, like for me, you know.
Yeah, I'll do that sometimes when I'll just like write something on a sticky note and then hours later go back to it and be like, I can't even read this. I gotta
Yeah,
like get back in the
yeah. It was
headspace.
like, what was I thinking about
Yeah.
when I said this? You
Yeah,
know.
you just like write like one word and it's like, I'll remember that, and you don't remember it. Um, what were like some of the big influences for you growing up, for what you do later?
The biggest stuff was the Mad Max franchise. So the first three were a huge deal to me when I was a kid, and later and now. And then Terminator 2 was huge. So Terminator 2 was like this big deal where like when I saw that movie, I was like, I want to do that. I want to make action movies. But I couldn't, I was like, this is so big. You know what I mean? I can't, that was
Yeah.
kind of the thing that made me want to do action movies, that and Mad Max. It was so big. But then the breakthrough was when I started seeing like Hong Kong like kung fu movies. That was like when I that was later. That was like late high school, coming out of high school, and The Matrix came out. And that was when I realized like you could just learn to do this and it adds like all this production value, but it doesn't cost anything. Like you just have to have other people that can do it. But you can learn this skill on your own and then perform it, and it gives all this production value. So that was when I shifted from just like general action movies to like kung fu movies, you know.
Yeah.
And then of course when I was real little, it was ghost stuff like Ghostbusters,
Oh yeah.
and like that.
Yeah.
I didn't end up making stuff like that, but it was like one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, you can really see it in Danger Element, the like the fight scenes kind of adding a lot to it. Because I know with a lot of smaller budgeted movies I've seen, which you got to do what you have to do, but like there'll be a lot of I don't want to say like overreaching, if that makes sense. Like not quite getting the shot. But Danger Element just like works so well because like it's so much fight scenes and they're all so good that it really does just like seem like it has a bigger budget than it really does just because those are always so great. Um,
That's the thing that people like when critics would see it, they would be like, even the people that didn't like it, right? Like they're just like, I don't know, this movie is weird and has a weird tone, the tone's inconsistent, but they couldn't totally say that it was bad. Like I never met a critic that was just like, it's just all around bad. They were like, no, it's actually really entertaining and I can't really figure out why because I don't really like it. And but it was because of things like that. It was like we knew kind of why the audience was there. Uh it's mostly for the action, you know what I mean? And that's kind of where we focused everything.
yeah. Do you have a like a favorite fight scene that you've done?
So I think we filmed one. It's nobody's seen it yet. We filmed one here for EONBLADE, my newest project. We filmed one here in the house that I think is probably my favorite. Because we got to spend like 4 days shooting it, like 4 8-hour days, where we had time to kind of stand around and think about what we want to do, and uh, so I think it's the most interesting to me. Um, Otherwise, a lot of the older stuff is cooler because I was in better shape, and I could do more. Like I really like that the part in Danger Element where Jitney's fighting the three dudes in the warehouse because I brought in like these three really high end like stunt guys that were all martial artists. So that was turned out really good. We only had like 6 hours to shoot that too,
Oh,
but
really?
but I do think that that one is probably one of the technically the best. Probably, I think.
It's really good. While we're on the subject, I've always wondered this because there's so many gags in it. How long did it take to shoot that opening fight of Sock Baby 4?
It's like maybe for, let me think. Like the one that's like in Doug TenNapel's backyard, right? It's
I
like,
think so. Yeah, it's the one with like the when like the guy like sticks his hand in the blender and then
yeah.
or no, yeah.
I think we took 2 days to shoot that, if I remember right. They weren't all on the same weekend. I think we came out for a weekend and filmed, and then came out for another weekend. We might have filmed for both days, like 4 days. Uh, but it was still rushed. It was like, yeah, you had to, that kind of stuff you had to spend time on because like Doug had these ideas, like he's gonna stick this guy's arm in this blender, and like we didn't have it. There was no plan for how to do that. And so like people and he had all these volunteers. We had way more volunteers than we had on the first three. So he had these volunteers that would just figure it out. He'd be like, "Yeah, just go figure this out." And they'd go they took like a mannequin arm, and stuck it in a shirt and uh but that was definitely the kind of stuff that slowed it down, like when I'm shooting fights, you do like a few takes and then you move to the next shot and it goes pretty quickly. But anytime you have to do that, like when you're like the fire breathing thing
Yeah.
was, I had to like, I had never done it before. And so I had to learn how to do it. And then we had to
Oh,
try to shoot it. And it was,
w
so it's everything like slows down when you get into that kind of stuff.
the fire stuff was real?
Yeah. Yeah. Like the
Oh, really?
bit where he takes like the torch and blows fire onto the frogman.
Yeah.
It was, let's see, what was it? So in the story explanation for it was that he like takes a swig of like vermouth, which I don't think would actually work for this, but that's what that's what I did to sort of explain it in story. And then he takes one of those tiki torches and he like blows on it and it turns into a flamethrower. Uh but what I actually did, it was like paraffin oil, like what you use in those torches. If you put that in your mouth and you have to spit it out in a way that like atomizes it, you'll do that.
Oh.
So that was what I had never done it. Doug sort of figured it out before I got there and he kind of showed me and then tried it a few times and then we shot it. But um it was a little bit scary. And then after I did it, now I've done it a bunch of times now. Like
Oh,
because now
really?
I kind of know the mechanism behind it. It's like you can do it pretty safely, but those kinds of gags, like it'll stop everything for like 2 hours while you kind of try to figure out how it's gonna work.
Yeah. I just think that's crazy. So like Doug Tenable, he was just like probably just like messing around with it like 20 minutes before you got there, right?
Yeah,
Or
like he sent me a video of himself in the
oh,
backyard,
really?
and he's like, "Check this out," and he was kind of starting to figure it out, and like it was this crazy video that he sent me and Justin, and it's like his kids are like screaming in the background, like in terror. And their mom is like trying to get him to come back in the house, and she's like yelling at Doug and stuff, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, and then he does it, and I'm like, okay, I see why they're screaming now. And I guess he wants me to figure out how to do that.
Man, that's crazy. Um, on that subject, um, have there ever been any like injuries that have kind of halted production at all or
No, no.
oh, really?
There was one time I was shooting something that it's probably not even out there anywhere to see, but it's I was filming a fight scene with my cousin and I broke his nose. And he just kept going.
Oh, really?
He just kind of was like, "Oh, I think you broke." He like straightened his nose, and you couldn't tell. And we kept filming, and then I saw him the next day, and he had black eyes and everything. Like it didn't stop us, but it could have, probably should have.
Huh.
Uh, and there's been things like I rolled my ankle on like Sock Baby 3 and didn't feel anything, and I just kept going for the rest of the day. And then the next day I couldn't walk,
Oh,
and but we were done filming, so it was fine. I can't really think of anything that stopped us. Somebody else will probably be like, John, don't you remember? Like
yeah, that's pretty good. That's definitely in God's providence that more stuff didn't happen.
I feel very lucky because I have been punched and kicked and everything. All of that has happened,
Oh, really?
but it's never been anything serious. There's one rule that I have too that I think contributes to this. Um, Nobody, it's like, unless I say differently, nobody takes a fall, right? So, like, if we're doing a fight, assume that I don't want you to fall down, right? Even if your character is falling down, just kind of duck because, like, a lot of times it's framed in a way where the person can just kind of go like that and just go out of the frame. And if in some crazy different universe I want to get a shot of somebody falling, then I'll say like I want to see the guy fall and let's figure out how to do it safely. But it's like very rare. Like I usually like people to just go out of the frame or pretend like they fell down, something like so that prevents a lot of injuries. I mean, I think like for Jackie Chan, most of the guys that went to the hospital on Jackie Chan sets were those guys that you see like in the wide shots falling 3 stories and just landing on concrete, and you wonder like, wow, how did they do that? You know?
Yeah.
And the answer is that guy went to the hospital. You
Right.
know, but
Yeah,
you
that's
can
like
if you're not
oh
doing that, like usually it's all right. Like, you might get a hit in the face, you might get a tooth knocked out, maybe, but you're not gonna probably not gonna end up in the hospital. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's actually a really great idea. I never thought about that. Um, one of the things that I shot a while back, I did a fall that, and it wasn't even the take we ended up using because I can't remember like someone like came off because we were just like in a skate park, so like someone was just like walking behind us. Um, and I like scraped my ankle and like I couldn't really walk on that the next day. And I didn't even think about like ever like kind of cheating the way that a guy falls because like watching the
Yeah.
movie you're not gonna know. Um, I'm gonna have to make a note of that. That's really good.
Like if you
Uh,
watch Danger Element, for example, I can't really think of spots where anybody actually takes a fall, right? Like or there's one like where I do this big fall at one point. There's a couple of them actually. Like I do this big fall, I fall through the air. One of them is on sand on the beach, and I made sure it was in a safe place to do that. The other one I flew onto like a mattress that you just couldn't see, you know. And then the rest of it is you'll see a guy go down out of frame and then it'll cut and he'll be like sitting up and he'll fall from a sitting position or something like that. So it looks like he fell, but he didn't fall from like standing up, you know.
right.
This is a big thing is like I used to watch a lot of kung fu movies and that like Jackie Chan especially, it'd show these things where it's like how did they get that
Oh
shot of that
yeah,
guy? And then you find out later it's like, yeah, that guy just like never worked again.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I
pretty
mean? And I was
much.
like, well, I don't think I want to do that. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, some of that stuff's pretty insane. The ending of Police Story especially has got so many just like absolutely crazy falls, like in between the escalators and through the balcony. Like it's
Yeah,
just absolutely crazy. It
yeah,
looks
it's
good,
insane.
but yeah.
And even like, and that's the one where Jackie does the slide down. At, does he do the stunt where he slides down the pole
Yeah, yeah, with
in
all
the
the
mall?
Christmas lights. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like he almost died doing that.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't.
Yeah, almost
At least
died
it
in
was
like
doing.
multiple ways.
Yeah, at least it was him deciding to do it and not just all of the the other guys they pull in, they just that's your job today is you're going to take this crazy fall and you might not you're going to go to the hospital later, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't think that's necessary.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little extreme. Okay, so I've actually got a really specific question that I've n just online I've never really been able to find an answer to. Um, so you started working on Danger Element in 2009, right?
Yeah, it's when we started shooting. Yeah.
Okay. So how on earth did Go Sukashi start for you? Because I know that was like a manga and like a mascot in Japan, and then you're over here working on, Sock Baby, Danger Element. Um, who even started that deal?
Okay, so that's a super weird story. There's a company in Japan called Dentsu that I don't know. It was there was an executive there or something that knew Doug and came to Doug and was like, "We want to do something with this character that was created by this pop star because like this pop star Shoko Nakagawa, like she would draw pictures of stuff, and this was one of the characters that she created, and they wanted to do something with it. I know there was, and this is like I didn't know anything about it, so like literally what I'm telling you is like what Doug is relaying to me, and I'm like, I don't, okay, I don't know what this is, and he's like, I don't either, and so then he arranged to have a meeting with this Japanese guy, like who literally spoke zero English, And there was another Japanese guy that I think lived here that spoke Japanese and English. And we had a lunch meeting with them about this. And they brought all this stuff, right? Like they're like all these products. And my big thing was I was like, I just need to know what this is, right? I just need to know what this is because like if we're gonna adapt it or something, what is it? I don't
Right,
know
yeah.
what it is. And like so they bring all these products and it was like food packaging with like pictures of the character on it. And like one of them was like this bread, it was like a melon bread that they sell over there. And it was like Sukashi brand. And this dude, the Japanese American guy was like, he's holding up this bag, the melon bread, and he's like, we've sold 1 million pieces, right? And I was like, but what is it? Like, I don't. It's a. Is it a bread? Are we selling bread? Like, I didn't, And then they ended up giving us like the anime. There was like an anime. They gave us a DVD of the anime. There was a video game that we couldn't play because it was like I think it was 3DS, but it was all in Japanese and like we couldn't ever really look at it. So I really had no. We ended up watching the anime in Japanese and just sort of trying to absorb what we thought was going on. But they were very much like, but it doesn't have to be like this at all. Like it can be something totally different. But we wanted to at least start somewhere because they couldn't tell us anything about what this character was. Like they couldn't explain it to us. And so then that was when Justin and I we watched the anime and in the anime he's running around and he has like it's a sand dollar. Like Sukashi, I guess means sand dollar. It's like a type of urchin, like a type of sea urchin. And that's what his face is supposed to be, right? And he would carry around these little sand dollars and he'd like look through them and he had x-ray vision and he would like look through girls' clothes and stuff and it was like we couldn't really follow what was going on. So that was where we came up with the storyline of like, okay, maybe he sees invisible threats. And then we can also do like the Don Quixote thing where nobody's really sure if he's just hallucinating uh, or if there really is some kind of a threat. And that was where we came up with that. And then they gave us like 10 grand. And which we had this, we had to have the suit made. The Chiodo brothers made the helmets. Like I don't know if you know the Chiodo brothers. They did this movie called Killer Clowns from Outer Space,
Okay, yeah.
and they've done a bunch of like stop motion effects for like The Simpsons and all this stuff. And they have like this whole shop in L.A. So we went in there and they like measured my head and like made the helmets and everything. So by the end of all that, the money's like almost gone, and we just shot the. I think we made three of them and we shot those just like we normally would with like no money, like because we spent all the money, So, and that's kind of how that happened.
Wow,
That's
that
I probably could have told that in a shorter version, but it's
oh
like
no,
it's kind of
no.
kind of a crazy story. Like it's just, and we did that while we were doing Danger Element because we weren't shooting Danger Element all at once. We did it in parts. So I did the first part, and then this came along, and we had to figure out how to do this.
So you pretty much just like could do whatever you want on Go Sukashi then. Like they didn't have any like list of
They had
demands that like you had to have this character or this setting.
they wanted to introduce the character to like the West, and they had nothing for us as far as like even what is the character like because they wanted us to do something different. I'm like, but it's you do want it to look like this character, right? Like, uh, yeah, and then but then there were people at Dentsu that didn't like it. There were all these Japanese employees at Dentsu that did not like what we were doing, and like they would comment on all the videos in Japanese, like trying to sabotage it and everything. It was funny stuff, man. It was
That
really weird. It was a weird time.
that almost sounds like something that would be like in an episode of Go Sukashi, like someone just like talking smack on him online.
Well,
Try.
we would do things like that. They're like when we were writing the script because okay, so they were like, Shoko Nakagawa is going to be on tour, but if you guys write something, we can film her like doing it, right? So like Justin and I like, how what are we going to use that for? Like, so we wrote this thing where she would do like bumpers at the beginning and the ending of every episode. So we wrote these like introductions for her that she would then read in Japanese and we would subtitle them. And they were saying all these, like I was saying, like we've sold a million pieces of this melon bread, and I'm going like I don't know what that means or why that's relevant. And we wrote that into the script. Like she's like, I'm so excited, I'm gonna eat 1 million pieces of melon bread. Like,
I've always wondered where that joke came from, so that clears it up.
it's so funny too. Like we got all the raw footage from them, and they're all dying laughing where she's trying to say that line. She has no idea why she's saying it. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
like, that's okay. I don't know what it means either. That's just what they said to me.
Uh, one other like weird question I have about Go Sukashi is in the Star Wars parody episode, what was the story behind the Brendan Fraser joke? Was he like ever in talks to appear, or was that just like
No,
something you
no,
guys
no.
did?
So Grant, we just think Brendan Fraser is funny and strange, and he's done things in public that are odd and they make us laugh. And like and then Justin's brother Grant, people would say like, "Oh, he looks like Brendan Fraser," but of course, he didn't really look exactly like Brendan Fraser. But like for us, it was this inside thing of like, let's have Grant play Brendan Fraser because everybody that we know says that he looks like Brendan Fraser, even though he kind of you're people that don't know him
Right.
are not going to think Brendan Fraser. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the whole thing was based on this weird video of Brendan Fraser where like they cut to him at like an awards show or like a roast or something, and he realizes the camera's on him and he suddenly like activates and he's like he does this weird like clapping thing and he like points and stuff and it's really awkward and weird and so we based the whole character around that and it's just something that's like it's only funny to us like it's just nobody else understands what we're referencing.
That that definitely clears it up because I watched it and I was thinking because like at least like the way they have the playlist structured right now, that's like the last episode of Go Sukashi. It's like I'm watching the show and like this is how it ends, and I'm thinking this is awesome in a very weird way. Like I have no idea what is happening right now, but it's hilarious. Like the idea that it's not Brendan Fraser, but he's also like kind of Palpatine, and
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it
he's the
yeah
villain.
yeah
Yeah, and it's like
like
yeah, when he's like do it. Yeah, like
yeah
and
yeah
like it does I remember thinking that too when I watched it for the first time. I'm like it feels like we had Brendan Fraser or we thought we were going to get him. And he pulled out
yeah
and we were like, "Oh no, like what are we going to do?"
right. That's what I like thought all this time, so that definitely clears it up. Yeah, that's almost even better that you guys were just like, no one's gonna get this, but it's at least gonna be funny to like a handful of people. Let's just do it. What was it
And
like?
we had
Oh,
like like all these like 501st like Star Wars people show up for that too. I didn't know any of them. Like Justin was just like, "Oh, you know what is the guy? I was the guy that played Count Dooku. We knew him, and his name is Wes Page, and he's always been really helpful to us. And he's like this huge 501st like Star Wars guy. He's got like a full Darth Vader costume and everything. And so he was the guy that pulled them in so that we could have like real Star Wars things, like stormtroopers and stuff like that.
yeah, it looks really good. Like it's such a weird episode, but it's so awesome, especially just like him just playing with the toys at the end. Like it was so good. What was it like actually getting to kind of do lightsaber fights?
Uh, it's a lot of work. I don't actually remember doing the effects. I know I did like a ton of the effects. I think I did those effects too, but I can't really remember. But it was frustrating because we didn't really have a good prop. So it was like I think Wes Page had like a really good lightsaber handle prop, but it
Oh,
didn't
really?
have anything that connected into it.
Oh yeah.
So like we just like stuck a dowel in there. It was like a wooden dowel, and you could barely touch it. You'd move it, it would like fall out. So we couldn't really go all out and do like a crazy lightsaber fight, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know if that's really cool. I'm back to kind of your point of not really showing the fall. I was rewatching the whole series again yesterday just to kind of like get ready, and the fall where like he gets in the trash can and like falls down the stairs, but like you don't actually see it. I didn't even
Yeah,
notice it until
we
you
just threw
brought
the
it up.
trash can down. Yeah, like
Yeah,
I wasn't in it. Like it shows me roll across the floor with my feet sticking out, and then it just cuts to the trash can just getting thrown down the stairs, right? Like
yeah,
I wasn't obviously wasn't in it when it went down the
right,
stairs.
yeah. No, I was watching that. I was like, wow, that looks. I can tell it's fake, but like that looks really really good. And now it kind of clicks a little more after hearing that. What
It's
was
all
the?
just like misdirection, you know. It's like you're counting on the audience just being like, well, they just saw him go in there,
Yeah,
so
he's got
maybe
to
they'll
still be
just
in there.
yeah.
What was the visibility like in that mask?
You couldn't see very well, but uh, more importantly, you could only once I got the mask was like a made, it was form fit to like my head, like with my jaw closed, right? So I'd have
Oh,
to, and I had like a cloth that went under it. It was like really hard to get on. And then once it was on, I could only keep it on for a minute or two because you couldn't, especially once you started fighting. Like I could stand there and be all right, but once you started fighting, you couldn't breathe. Like you'd be breathing
oh,
hard and it was just there's just no oxygen, you know. So I'd have to do the fight and then take it off real fast. Visibility was like pretty bad, but I would try to like that's why the fights are not as crazy as they probably should be. Like they should have been we wanted to do something like Power Rangers. Uh but I couldn't see. So it was like really difficult to do elaborate fights that were really energetic because I had to make sure that I wasn't going to hit somebody or get hit. So it's I think they look okay, but they're not as exciting as they probably should have been because I couldn't see anything.
I mean, I gotta at least give a shout out to the Green Randall fight scene in episode 3. Every time I watch that, I'm just like totally hooked. Like I really like that fight scene for some reason. Like it's that whole episode's like really good too, but that fight scene I think turned out really good. So you
I
guys
was
definitely
really
did some
excited
great
about that
stuff.
one. I was really excited about that one because we did this thing with I wanted him to have like this energy staff, like the Randall, you know, and like so we put like tennis balls on the end of like a stick, and then I had this friend that was doing all kinds of visual effects for like movie trailers and everything, and we were like, we want this to look like uh, who's the famous comic book artist? Why can I not remember this? Eisner, I believe it was. I believe it was Eisner. Yeah, he had this way of drawing like energy balls and stuff and like plasma balls, and we were like, we want it to look like that, but in a movie. And he did it. Like it basically does look like, or I think it was I can't I might be saying the wrong comic book artist, but uh people would know. They're gonna be like, John, what's wrong with you?
Oh,
It's
now I'm blanking now. Was it like someone from the 90s?
and for even for like golden age of comics, like
Oh, okay, yeah. So it wouldn't be who I'm thinking of, which I can't even think of his name, but I was thinking of someone from then. Yeah, I'm sure anyone in the comments, if you see this,
yeah,
let us know who we're talking
somebody's
about.
somebody's gonna be like, what's wrong with you guys? Because
Yeah,
I know it, but I can't remember. Anyway, like he used to draw these like energy and stuff. Like if you look at the old Marvel comics and stuff like that, uh it was just this unique way of drawing explosions and energy and like magic. And we wanted it to look like that, but it had to look like it existed, like in a movie.
right.
And this guy did it. We had like no money. He just like did it for nothing. And I think it's really cool.
Yeah, it looks really, really cool. Um, whose idea was it to like cut to Sukashi fighting? and then just like him like kind of like fumbling through stuff.
Well, that was just like Justin and I think it's just like we automatically knew that we had to do that. Like that was just a joke. Both of us were just like obviously like because it's like he's seeing stuff that's supposedly invisible, and it's just like, well, what if the whole experience is from the outside? It just doesn't look like anything, you know? And so he can't. He tells people what was going on, and they're like, I just literally saw you like stumbling around over there, you know?
Yeah,
It's just like a funny joke that we thought would be funny. Like I don't know, that's just like a joke that we always come back to. It's like we I don't think this was out yet, but we loved Always Sunny. Did you ever see the one where they do like the big musical number like at the high school reunion or whatever, and
I haven't seen that one yet.
like in the middle of it it just cuts and they're all like blackout drunk and they're just like moaning and like drooling and like people are staring at them, but in their minds it's this huge musical number that's we just love jokes like that.
Yeah, it gets me every time. Um, were you like a big fan of Tron when it came out?
Like the original.
Yeah.
Not when it came out because like not when it first came out because it came out in 82. I was like 1.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then later on I was into Star Wars and like when I was like a little kid and I would see stuff from Tron and it it I didn't understand it. Like it was intimidating to me because I just kind of didn't get it. I was like they're in a computer, I guess, and I didn't know how computers worked. I didn't have a computer. So it seemed like a grown-up thing to me. And so I didn't see it for many years. And then I finally did, and I thought it was really cool. I think it's even cool. I think it's way more relevant now than it was at the time
Oh, yeah, definitely.
because it
Yeah.
was like dealing with AI stuff, and people were just like, "What is a computer?" You know, like, and they're dealing with in that original movie, they're dealing with the kind of stuff that's happening now.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, how did you know that was going to happen? You know?
Yeah. It's like forget AI. People back then were just like, What is he typing on?" Like
Yeah,
it's like
like
a
there was
fancy.
an older actor. There was an older actor in the movie, the guy that plays Dumont, and he plays the program that sends messages out
Oh yeah.
with like the gatekeeper of like the communications tower. That guy on set apparently didn't understand what was going on, and they at one point somebody was like, it's a pinball machine. You're inside of a pinball machine." He was like, "Oh," he's like, "I get it." Even though it was like not that, but it was kind of
Yeah.
like he had to come at it from like a super metaphorical position because he had no idea what is a computer, like, and he has all this dialogue in the movie that's about computers, that's like relevant and profound, but
Yeah.
he just had no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah.
I just think, and that was me. Like I didn't have a computer until I was like 18 years old, so I
I'm
didn't
gonna have
really get
to
it.
rewatch that movie and just like watch that guy and just think that he's imagining just like a steel ball like hitting bumpers and stuff like the whole movie. Like he's
Yeah,
got that stoic look on his face and then like he's thinking of like some, you know, analog score rolling up on like a 50s
yeah.
machine or something.
It's like I'm in a pinball machine.
Yeah, exactly. I asked that question because the Christmas episode of Go Sukashi, like, did you guys have the Tron vacuum cleaner lying around, or was that like made for the episode?
Yeah, it was a vacuum cleaner that we had. Like Justin and I lived in a house in Ceres where we basically had this house that was kind of like the studio. We both lived there, and that was our vacuum cleaner. And like we were sitting there one day looking at it, and I was like, it's like a Tron vacuum cleaner. And then we made the whole thing up. Like, what if Sukashi starts vacuuming and then it becomes one of his delusions and he's like in Tron? And then I had to make a 3D model that sort of mimicked the Tron vacuum cleaner.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But it was a real thing. Like I'm sure you could find it
Oh sweet.
uh,
I'm gonna
like
have to
a
like get that
antique
for.
now.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get that for someone for Christmas and just brand it as like a Tron vacuum cleaner.
Yeah. Make a sticker. It's like
Yeah, yeah. I actually professionally make labels, so I could do that.
That's a great idea.
That's actually, I might actually do that. Um, I did have another somewhat offbeat question. Do you have a favorite Ronnie Cardova line?
I have to like think back through. It's been so long. There were see, I'm thinking of lines that never made it in.
Oh,
I was
really?
like, oh, we didn't do that. Uh, there's like a part right before the fight, like in the third one, I think, where I can't remember what the line is, but I delivered it really strangely. Like when Davis is stealing the sock baby out of the car, I think Ronnie says like he's like, give me the baby. Oh yeah, that's what it is. And so he goes, give me the baby or die. And like I like screamed it. And I think that's my favorite line. Because it was like by that point I had run out of like my range for acting had been maxed out, and I was just like, I don't know what to do. Like I screamed
Just like going all in on just full send
it.
all the way. Yeah, there's some really good ones in Sock Baby. Was it mostly just like you writing all those, or was there like,
Knaple wrote it.
oh, really?
And he wrote different versions of it. Like he would write everything in like a single city. He's like he had like a rule for Sock Baby where it was like you can only write the scripts have to be written in like a 15-minute sitting, and you can't go any long like and but then he would do drafts. He would do another draft, and it changed quite a bit over time, but like he wrote all that stuff. I think there were maybe some ad-libbed things here and there, but most of it was like a script that he wrote,
Oh
if
man.
you can believe that.
Yeah, I can't believe it. Like you look at the lines in Sock Baby, and you're like, okay, they obviously planned the fights, but like these lines were just like on the day. It's just like let's just see what we can come up with.
And it
Yeah.
was kind of like that. I mean, everything that he wrote was written very quickly, but it was in advance. Like there were even things that when we went to shoot them, we were like, oh, there's something here that doesn't make sense. Like we need to shoot something that goes between these two things. I remember Doug wrote the whole thing about the the sock, like how did the socks get switched? It's like the sock
Yeah.
baby gets switched with like the dog poop sock. And at the end of the movie, it was like he just pulls, like Doug was playing opticord, and he just pulls the sock, what he thinks is the sock baby out of his jacket, and it's that sock, and or we're just like, how did that come about? So we had to come up with a way that made sense. Like I don't even remember what we did, but it wasn't in the script. It was just like the audience is going to ask this question when they see this. Just hadn't thought of it.
That's just part of the fun of Sock Baby is just like wondering what happened and then just like kind of going along going along with it
Yeah.
and just it's got a
Well,
very
and
fun
Doug
vibe to it.
Doug was very much like that was part of his rule for it, was that he wanted it to be like not like a big production. He's like, who cares? Like, and I would have to argue with him sometimes because like we filmed during a sunny day, and then we came out to film again and it was raining. And I was like, Doug, we can't. He wasn't there. I called him and I was like, we can't shoot in this because it's totally different from the last scene. And he's just like, just shoot it inside. And I was like, but the previous shot is outside. He's like, who cares? Just cut to inside. And I just couldn't do it. I was like, I get you want to have this level of freedom, but I actually like want this to sort of work. And so we'd like argue about that stuff.
How did uh how did you meet Doug Jones?
Uh, Comic-Con 2006, Guillermo was promoting Pan's Labyrinth.
Oh, really?
And I was like a big fan of Hellboy. So I didn't know what Pan's Labyrinth was. And I went to the panel because I like Hellboy, right? I was like, well, this is the guy that did that. And they were promoting that, and Doug was there. And that was the first time I had ever seen him. And then after the panel, they're like, come down to the booth. There was like a Pan's Labyrinth booth. so we went down there and there was a line, but not a huge line. It's like at that time, like these people were like pretty accessible. Um, you could actually like run into them on the floor at Comic-Con and stuff. But so they're at the booth. There's a line. We get in it, and we had all of this stuff. Like we had our like experimental short films and all this stuff on DVD, and we had T-shirts. And we like go up to him and we start. You guys want a T-shirt? Like we gave Guillermo a T-shirt, and he was all excited about it, and uh gave him DVDs and everything. And they're like, "This." He's like, "This is really cool," you know. And Doug was right next to him. They're signing posters and he sees all this stuff. And when I get up to him, he stands up and he comes out. There's a line behind me. He comes out from behind the table and he's just like, who are you guys? And like, what is this stuff that you make? And he was like all interested in it. And he talked to me for maybe 10 minutes or so. And then he called me like a week later because I had put like a card inside all this stuff and he had my card. He calls me on the phone and he's like, I watched all your stuff because there was like I think we gave him like a SOCKBABY DVD and we gave him like some weird kung fu stuff from the old days. He's like, it's so weird, and he's like, I want to be in it. I want to be in something that you do, and that was how that happened. So
Oh man.
I wanted to use him for Danger Element, but we ended up having him on SOCKBABY 4 first, which I think he probably had more fun doing that than he did Danger Element because it was so weird. He played himself
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Black Baby 4, and it was like he was evil and stuff. It was like
yeah.
so funny.
The forgive me Guillermo line.
Yeah. And it's the fact that he was willing to do stuff like that is just like it's just great.
Yeah, yeah. I was That was another one where I was just like, it's kind of like the Brendan Fraser thing, where it's like I don't understand what's happening, but I'm down for it. Like
Yeah.
this
And
is
the
still
joke too,
fun.
like the joke was like, well, this is a bigger actor, but like a lot of people don't know who he is because he's always under a mask. And
Yeah.
so we kept referring to him in the script as Hollywood A-lister Doug Jones. You're Hollywood A-lister Doug Jones.
Yeah.
But like in reality, people didn't really know who he was. Like at that time anyway.
And then I can't really tell. I'm going off of Wikipedia, so not the most reliable source. They're in the suit and everything. Was John Heater one of like the frogmen?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
How'd that happen?
the Heater brothers actually.
Oh,
There's two
okay.
of them. They're identical twins.
Really?
So John and Dan were both there. Like so Dan I think works in special effects, but they look almost identical. I learned to tell them apart. Um, but then Doug put that joke in where one guy comes out. I think Dan comes out of the water and then he clones his brother out of his back, like his back, his brother grows out of his back. And it was so weird too because it's like we had the Heater brothers, but we covered them with like a wetsuit and goggles, so you
Yeah.
couldn't really recognize them, which was hilarious.
That makes more sense. Like the kind of cloning joke, because like I saw that on like Wikipedia or wherever, and I can never really place them because I'm like, well, they got to be one of the wetsuit guys, but
Yeah,
I really don't have any way of like telling
that's like
like, yeah,
the funny thing about it. It's like the stuff that we would get up to. Like we're gonna get this star to be in the movie, but we're gonna put like a bag over his head, and
yeah.
you won't know it's him. Like it's so weird.
So did you just like ask him to be in it, or did you like see him at Comic-Con or something, or?
Doug was just friends with those guys.
Oh, really?
I don't remember if they yeah he was just friends with them somehow. I can't remember how they kind of met, but uh because he just like literally just called him up and was like, "Can you guys come and shoot this thing in my backyard?" And they did. There was no deal or anything. There's like no money,
Oh man.
and they just thought it was fun. It was kind of embarrassing too, though, because like Doug and I, when we would work together, we would argue a lot about a lot of stuff. Like we just had all these disagreements, and we'd get in these big arguments, and then there would be like a point we'd get to where it's like, okay, like because I'd have something that I didn't like, and we'd get to an impasse, and then Doug would be like, all right, are you morally against it, or you just don't like it? And I'd be like, if I said I was morally against it, he'd say, okay, we won't do it. But if I said I just didn't like it, I'd have to prove to him that it actually wasn't good. It was like a very like Mel Brooks, you know, kind of a thing where they they would argue like that, and it's just like at the end of it, it's kind of like, well, I just wanted to see if you were really serious,
Yeah.
you know. So we would get in these really crazy arguments, like drag out arguments, and for us, it was sort of normal. Uh, but Doug and I, there was this part I was burned into my mind. It's so embarrassing. The Heater brothers are we're in the swimming pool and they're holding onto my arms, right? Like we're getting ready to do a take, and Doug had some piece of direction for the camera or something, and I was like, no, you can't do that. I was like, that's going to be a jump cut. It was something like that. It was like something technical. I was like, it's going to look wrong, you know. And he was like, no, 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 no. And I just like, duh. I'm like, no. And they're holding me in the swimming pool, like the Heater brothers are there in these frogman costumes holding my arms, and I'm screaming at him. I'm screaming at Doug. And it's so embarrassing because I was like, this is normal for us, but they must think I'm completely insane right now, you know, to be taking this that seriously. But that's just how we were, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it paid off.
Because
That
for
stuff's
Doug
great.
it was a for Doug it was sort of a diversion. It was like an escape, and for me it was a doorway. Like it was
Oh
totally the
yeah.
opposite. For him and me it was two different opposite things. Like for him it was like this is my escape from the show business world,
Oh
and for
yeah.
me it was my kind of doorway into it.
Because
So
was he doing cat scratch at that time or was
yeah,
that?
like Cat Scratch was getting made around that time. He had just like sold Creature Tech when I first met him.
Oh,
He
okay.
sold Creature Tech, uh, you know, to a movie studio. I don't know if it was which movie studio it was. Never got made, but it
Yeah.
was like that had just been sold, and then he went into Cat Scratch and he was making cartoons. And I was kind of going like, I live on a farm, and
Yeah.
I would rather be doing stuff like this. And so for me, it was a little bit more serious.
Right.
So anything that felt like it would make things technically look wrong. Like I didn't mind if things looked kind of purposely bad or if that was the joke, but if it looked like I was incompetent, like technically incompetent, I would argue with him. It's like this is going to make me look like an idiot. You know what I mean? And I'm just starting out in my career, so like we'd have those kinds of arguments.
Yeah. I
And
think
it was such a small thing that it's like it's embarrassing in a way because it's just like
yeah,
it's like
I didn't even think about that, but yeah, you probably would have been coming from just like totally different perspectives on like what that was doing. But I think it actually like pays off because like
it's
when you
well, and it makes for interesting. It's interesting to tell stories about it too, because it
yeah,
wasn't just like, yeah, we just filmed it and it was fun. It was like, no, like it was actually crazy. Like
yeah. Well,
it
because like
was
yeah, you watch Sock Baby and like part of the fun I feel is just like it looks like the rails are just gonna fall off at any moment, but like
no,
it almost like intentionally.
like it barely stays in the world that it's in. You know, it's
Yeah,
like it feels like the camera's going to turn and you're going to see that everything's just cardboard,
yeah, yeah,
but it somehow stays in the illusion somehow. And
yeah.
I
It's
don't know,
almost like
people love
that.
it.
It's almost like that scene in Spaceballs where they're fighting and then like they accidentally like take out one of the cameramen or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
It
Like
like
you
cuts to the
see the
crew.
crew and like a guy gets killed. Yeah, like
Yeah,
it's a great joke.
yeah,
It does seem like almost at any moment you're just going to run out of and it just keeps escalating and it keeps getting crazier and weirder. But there's no resources, and I don't know. It just works in a weird, just a really. I mean, that was what he was just good at that kind of stuff, like just coming up with a world on the spot that was just built out of whatever was there, and people bought into it. You know,
yeah.
worked.
Were there ever any plans for a fifth one or?
Y- Yeah, I mean, it would come up every so often. Um, what there was like, I mean, this was many years ago. So I think I can tell these stories now. It's been like 20 years. At one point, O Entertainment, he was Steve Odekirk, the guy
Oh
that did
yeah.
like Ace Ventura and all that stuff. That company wanted to do something with it. Um, and then, and then Jim Henson Company wanted to do something with it. There was this movie called Mirror Mask that Jim Henson Company made for like $5 million. And they were kind of like, yeah, we could give you the same package, like the same $5 million package. You could do a Sock Baby movie. It just never materialized. Nickelodeon wanted to do something with it. They wanted to shoot like a pilot, but like they lowballed us on like the budget for the pilot. And Doug and I was like, I'll do it, but Doug didn't want to. Uh, because obviously, because it's like it, you needed more money. But I was just kind of like, I'll do it for free. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I was an idiot. So like there were lots of things that were kind of even when like we went to show Sock Baby 4 at Comic-Con. That was going to be the big premiere for Sock Baby 4. And I think Jim Henson Company told Doug like they didn't want him to show it.
Oh,
Like
really?
they were trying to get him not to show it because they were interested in it. And I was like, are you kidding me? But then yeah, later on, he called me one day and was like, I got an idea for another Sock Baby thing, and but then it just never happened. It's which it's just kind of like that's the story of how it's been ever since. Everybody's like, "Are you gonna do another one?" And I'm like, "It's not mine," And I
Yeah.
think I kind of feel like I'm aged out of it. I'm like I don't look like the character anymore. Like so I don't know. Uh, it would be
Yeah.
fun.
It almost because like there's kind of a cliffhanger at the ending of Sock Baby 4, but like Sock Baby, just like the way it works, if that was the end of the series, that would just be totally on brand.
Yeah,
Like
like
that was
that.
just it.
It worked as an ending, but also like I think he had a whole idea for where that was going to go. Like like there was going to be these action sequences where he has to fight his mom and stuff. It was like Kate Freund played his mom, and yeah, there was all kinds of, and of course it would change every time he would tell you what he wanted to do. So, but it would have been fun.
Um, okay, so another thing about Danger Element is that it's a very Catholic movie. Like that's another thing that really stands out. What was your like experience with Catholicism prior to Danger Element?
Uh, so I wasn't really raised with any particular religion. I was baptized as a Catholic as a baby, and then didn't really have a lot of experience with any religion really until after high school. But I did decide in high school, I kind of came to this as like, if I basically decided like there was a lot of people in high school that were trying to get me to be a Christian, right? And I kind of came to the conclusion if I ever do that, I'll be Catholic because I knew the history. Like I knew, like this is the original Christian church. So it's like obviously if I was gonna be one, I'll be that. But I wasn't one. I wasn't a Christian. I didn't really understand what Christianity was. Um, but then after high school, I started hanging out with this group of people from the church where I was baptized when I was a baby. So I was
Oh,
like,
really?
I started going to that church, and then really went hard like into studying it and just became convinced by it. And then every day since then, I've been studying it every day. I'm like obsessed over it. And every time I try to challenge it, I'm reconvinced.
Yeah.
So somebody will present a question to me, and I'll be like, "Well, let me look into that," and then I end up uncovering much stronger arguments than I
Yeah.
knew existed, and so it's just this rabbit hole, just deeper, deeper, deeper. So by the time I did Danger Element, it was just something that interested me more than anything else. So when I wrote, that was the kind of stuff that just kind of came out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. Me and my friends were actually talking about it at our Bible study a couple of weeks ago. How like the because like modern Hollywood kind of has like demonic possession as kind of just being like, well, you idiot, you didn't call a priest, so it's like let's just get this over here and be one and done. And like we were just like thinking like, okay, that's actually really interesting in Danger Element. It's like presented as like the realistic like you know long process of like this doesn't just like well, you call a priest, you sprinkle some holy water and everything's fine. So it's
Yeah,
just
like
like,
Jitney is presented as a character that's like he's been dealing with this since he was a child, and it's just a thing he lives with.
yeah,
And there were exorcisms done at some point, but it was just so that he could probably go and receive the sacraments. It didn't necessarily completely liberate him,
right.
and he still lives with it. And when you get to the danger element, he's pretty much in a bad spot with it. It's kind of like he's trying to ignore it, but it never completely goes away. It's just
Yeah,
something he lives with. It's kind of like if you think about people who have chronic illnesses and stuff, it's like it doesn't ever go away completely, but you can deal with it. Like you have recourse. And that was kind of what I was going for. Because I also, in movies, in Hollywood movies, I've always hated that. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, like we're gonna have this big battle with this demon,
yeah,
and all the doors are gonna be slamming and stuff, and then we're gonna win, and then it's
yep.
over.
He's just gonna be
And
like,
it's
oh, I'm
just
done. That's it.
everything I've read and seen. In reality, it's not really like that, and that was kind of what I was trying to go for. It still kind of has like the horror vibe, which as time has gone on, I feel less and less like I've seen like exorcisms and stuff, and it's way more like a a prayer group. It's like
Yeah,
like families will get together and it's like they pray together and the priest does the formal prayers and and then afterward they have like a potluck. It's like it's a very like uh actually almost like a positive thing.
yeah,
So I don't know. It's as I've gotten older, I've had different viewpoints on it. It's just the most sort of scandalous kind of mysterious thing to put in a movie. That's why they go for it.
yeah, yeah. It I don't know, definitely works in the danger element. How trying to phrase the question, like was there because you filmed it over a, you know, numerous year period, um, was like the script pretty much the same from beginning to end, or were there a few changes in production?
Uh, it was the main points like the stuff with like the Abaddon character, like the demon character and Jitney. That stuff was always there. Like that was always pretty much as is. But then I added this, the sister angle and like the dad, like uh trying to save their dad who had already died. Like I added that later on. And just because I wanted something more, like I wanted the movie to be weirder, I guess. Like it needed to have more stuff going on and more things to tell you who this character is because it was just Jitney kind of doing stuff. So he needed people around him that could to interact with so you could learn about him. So that was where the
Yeah.
sister character came from and the father who's the time travel the time travel thing, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, the
So,
stuff with like the basic stuff, like where he go, they go and see Oasis, like the girl in the asylum who has like psychic powers or whatever. That was all there. Um, and all the stuff with Abaddon was all there. Yeah.
what what scene do you think took the longest to shoot in Danger Element?
Uh, well, we only had about 1 day to shoot a scene. They were like
Oh
I
man.
said, there were like exceptions where like that car chase, we took 2 days because there's like two different setups that need to be planned. But a lot of times we'd shoot multiple scenes in 1 day. We'd only have a few hours. Um, but I do remember the whole bit where Doug Jones is like it's like the Frankenstein scene where he gives Andros like his powers and he's like Andros is like strapped to this table and there's like a you know Tesla coil with like arcs of electricity going all over the place. That was like so complicated because Doug Jones was there at a different time than almost everybody else. So like the guy that played Billiard never met Doug Jones, even though they were
Oh
like in
really?
this in scenes together. And like the guy that played Andros was always there. So I could like cut to Dr. Ellis and have Andros in the foreground, and then like cut to billiard and have Andros in the foreground. So it felt like they were all there. But that took, I remember we were shooting at night for like 3 days or something, trying to get all those elements to work because it was just so complicated. You had to remember where everybody was standing and they weren't all there, like it was complicated. And then the effects, all the lighting effects for like the electricity. We were doing like fight scenes, but then like we had to come up with like this count off where because people were just had switches and they were just turning the lights on and
Oh,
off.
really?
And that was how we did the electricity lighting. So everybody was counting and they had like a cue to turn on and turn their light off and off and on and stuff.
Huh.
And then we'd have to choreograph a fight scene to go along inside of that. All that was just like so complicated.
Did you have the Paraclete car before you started filming, or did you get that for the movie?
We got it for the movie. Like we were shooting that first 12 minutes, and I kept talking to my friend Ben, who he builds race cars and stuff. And I was hanging out at his house in Santa Cruz, and we were talking about it. I was like, it should be whatever this thing is, should be like an open cockpit, like he's flying in a fighter plane or something. And he had all these ideas. We were looking at different like race cars, like vintage race cars. And then he remembered all of a sudden that a friend of their family's had this Auburn Speedster, which is the one that's in the movie. But he told me about that, and I was like, I knew what it was because my grandpa had one after the war, so I knew what car this was. And I was like, wow, you're kidding me. Like this is a really that's the car, you know? It's like, do you think he'd let us use it? And so like the guy's like, yeah, he asks, and the guy's like, it hasn't run in like 6 years, or it hasn't been started in like 6 years, you know. So he's like, if you can get it out of here, you can use it. And we did. We went and got it, loaded it on a trailer, and I think Ben got it started like that day, even though it had like a rat's nest like inside the engine compartment and everything. Like, but he got it started like really quickly, and then we were planning, and then the guy calls us, and he's like, "Why don't you guys just keep it?" And I was like, "You kidding me?" Like, so then we just had it. Like Ben had it for years, and I would use it, and that was the only, he kind of didn't like the car that much. Like he didn't he was like, it's not my kind of car. So he's like, I'll sell it to you, for like a lower price than what's worth. So I started making payments on it, and eventually he was just like, okay, it's just yours now. Like you don't have to finish making the payments. Just he just gave it to me from there on out. So then I've had it ever since. But it's just like a lucky. I always kind of referred to it like it was like a gift from the heavens. Like if you it's like Perseus in Clash of the Titans, like how his weapons just appear. I've always thought of it that way because it was like there was no skill on earth that could have gotten me that resource. Like it
Right.
just it appeared for me and it was perfect, you know?
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. It's a cool car. Really kind of, I don't know, that's another one of the things that just kind of seems like it ups the budget a little bit. Just having that awesome car just kind of makes it seem like, oh, okay, these guys had some money to throw around, like
Well,
it's a
that was
pretty
the
sweet
big
ride.
worry about it. I was like, it can't just be like a Camaro or
Right.
something,
Yeah.
and it's just not gonna. It needs to be something that really knocks your socks off. And I didn't have no idea what it was gonna be. And then that presented itself, and I was like, that's it. That's perfect. That's the perfect car.
Yeah. So Danger Element came out in 2017, right? Like all completely finished, right?
Yeah, the when I assembled it, all the parts into a single film, and then it was released. Yeah.
So how was that released initially?
I had to deal with a distribution agent who just he sold the distribution rights in a bunch of different countries, and they could sort of put it out any way that they wanted to. Like I know that like there's a Japanese DVD. I have a
Oh,
DVD hanging
really?
on the wall that's Japanese. Yeah. So they in Japan they actually sold a physical DVD and it has like all this Japanese stuff on it. It's really cool looking. And then other places it just went, I think, went to streaming or on television. Like I think in Poland it played on television. It might still be playing on TV in Poland. I'm not sure. Uh, it was never there was never any deal for the US.
Oh, really?
But you could like watch it on Amazon and Tubi, but there was no like special deal for the US territories.
Huh.
But internationally, it was like all over the place. Um,
I wonder if the kind of the Go Sukashi haters ever saw it in like a video store or something. It's like, oh, I remember
maybe
this guy. He's the one.
it's actually
He's the one that
surprising.
ruined
Yeah,
Sukashi.
it's like this is the guy. That's what he was making when he. Yeah, it's like I'm actually surprised that they did a DVD over there because 2017, like the DVD market here was pretty much dead.
Yeah.
But they actually, like the guy, my distribution agent, mailed me these Japanese DVDs, and I was like super excited about it. Like this is awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Um, can you still buy the Blu-ray of Danger Element?
Yeah, on my website. Yeah,
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so everyone, if you haven't bought it already, go ahead and get that because it's really cool. It's also got the black and white version with it, right?
yeah. I regraded, like I think in 2022, I regraded the movie in black and white, and I really like the way it looks in black. I think it looks better. It's like my preferred version of it, but both versions are on this Blu-ray. There's the original color version and then the black and white version.
Yeah, I was really excited to get that because like I watched the Danger Element and then I was like, well, I got to find this on physical, and then like you look it on eBay and everything, and like there is no phys there's no physical
Yeah,
for this.
no, that was frustrating for years. I was like, there was no way to even get it. Like you could just like watch it on Tubi and stuff.
Yeah.
That's it.
So how did you get into like uh, professional editing, for lack of a better term?
Well, it was. I guess I would credit. You'd have to credit like Sock Baby with it because that was where I worked with Doug, and then it was years later when I was doing Danger Element and all that, still trying to finish Danger Element was when he called me up and it was like, um, DreamWorks was doing a version of VeggieTales for Netflix. And Doug was like, "Hey, I want you to edit this show." And I was like, "I don't know anything about animation at all." He's like, "Yeah, it's the same." And I got there and I was like, "Okay, it's pretty similar, except you have more control over. You can edit things within shots rather
Oh,
than just
really?
you can edit all kinds of things within individual shots and stuff like that. You have more control." But it is a very similar technical process. So I picked it up really easily. And then I did that for a decade. Like that was my job. I didn't expect to be editing cartoons, but that's where it ended up.
So award shows always baffle me. What was it like being nominated for an Emmy?
I thought that was so weird because like I was working at home because of COVID. I was in this room and I started getting like little Teams notifications like, congratulations, John. Hey, John, congratulations. And I'm like, what are these people talking about? And it was for that. Uh, and I was like, what? And there was another editor. It was for Looney Tunes. There was another editor on that show, and he was like, "Oh yeah, like I entered us in it, and I submitted footage and stuff for us, so we got nominated." And I was like, "Well, I didn't even know that you could submit for it, you know." But then yeah, WB they were all like they sent me like stuff in the mail. They're like, congratulations, like this is a really amazing accomplishment, all this stuff. I got like a little plaque over there and stuff like that, which is great because otherwise I'd have nothing to show for it. You know what I mean? It's like I think there's an article somewhere that says the show was nominated, but Warner actually sent me these sort of nice things, so I at least have some memory of it. But it was weird because I'm also outwardly quite critical of the Motion Picture Academy and the TV Academy. Like,
Yeah.
so I was like, oh, this is kind of awkward,
Yeah, that
you
because
know?
like I saw that and like, I follow you on X and everything, and I was just thinking like I wonder what was like even going through his head like when he got nominated for an Emmy. That
Like,
would
how do
just
I feel about this?
yeah.
Like, I saw it, to be honest, I saw it almost exclusively as just like, maybe this will look good on my resume, like because anything to be able to get more work. But it never really crossed my mind. Like, I remember the day that we found out who actually won, and it wasn't us, and I was like, okay, so I won't have to actually go up and say something because that's going to be weird. Like,
Yeah.
because I'm like publicly just very like critical of all of these institutions. Like I think the Motion Picture Academy is like ridiculous, and I'll
Yeah.
say it. It's like, what would happen if I actually like got nominated or won one of these awards? Very awkward.
Yeah, it would have been like the Office meme where like Michael's got like the mullet and like he's like shaking hands with his boss and like he's like looking off to the
Yeah,
side. Yeah.
I'm like, I'm like, all of a sudden I just changed my tune,
Yeah, yeah.
like a total sellout.
I love Hollywood. It's the best. Let's it's like that's where you announce the remake of Sock Baby.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah. I have an
Netflix is
announcement.
making it. Netflix is making it. Ryan Gosling's gonna star in it. It's gonna be this whole thing. Gonna get Seth Rogen.
Because that was something like when Kenny and I did our stream a couple of nights ago, that came up, like the Oscars. Like he was talking about the Oscars, and I was like, man, like I got disillusioned by the Oscars like really early on, and I'm like, if I ever had to like go up on a stage at the Oscars and like say thanks for an award, that'd be really strange. Like I don't know what I would say, you know?
Yeah, it would definitely be weird. I don't know, those whole shows just baffled me to no end. I don't know.
It's all yeah, it's all just we got to make sure the right
Yeah,
people win these awards, and it's all about who gets publicity. And I don't really have much faith in the actual kind of like, if you win an award for something, does that mean that you actually
yeah.
were deserving of it? You
Me
know?
and my friends always joke, it's like if you're trying to like convince someone that like Hollywood is maybe not on the up and up, uh they slipped up on award shows. Like that's like a pretty weak link where you can point to and like something's not right here is
Uh,
like is a good
Especially
doorway.
when you get into stuff that's not the, the glamour stuff, like when you get into like sound design. Like the
Yeah.
average person doesn't know anything about how that works, and they just end up giving the award to whatever's the most prestigious film that's in the category. Like,
Yeah.
just like, well, we don't want to look dumb, so we're going to give it to like a smart looking movie, and it's like has no sound design in it. It's
Yeah. Wasn't it it was just a couple of months ago. It was like some award show. Can't remember what it was, but like they added this stipulation that like the judges had to actually watch the movies. And like everyone was freaking out because like why was this not a rule before? Like this should not be new.
yeah, because they literally don't like
Yeah.
because it's just they don't have time, and like they just look through and they're kind of like, oh, well, this is the one everybody's talking about, so I'll just go with that one because that I don't want to look dumb, you know.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it works.
Yeah,
And
it's
how would you enforce the stipulation too? It's
yeah.
like you have to show up and clock in
Yeah,
so that we know that you watched this movie. Like, it's not gonna
right.
happen.
And like, do they have to take like I don't know, like a reading comprehension test for like a movie comprehension test afterwards? Like, were you really watching it or were you just kind of like spacing out,
Yeah, you just had
Well,
it on
yeah.
and you were looking at it,
Yeah,
but
it's
you
like
weren't absorbing
were you
anything.
looking at your phone, looking at the wall, reading the fire escape, something like that? Yeah, I don't know that really baffles me. It's
Even then, though, see, like even then, the movie itself, their experience watching the movie is not what is making their decision for them. They're still kind of looking at it from the standpoint of what are other people going to say? What are people going to think? What's best for the academy? What's best for the, the certain people that are involved with this? And the last thing on the list is like, was the movie any good, or
yeah.
did it actually have good performance in the category in which it was nominated, which most of anything below like cinematography is just like I think it's, for instance, I think it's strange, people win, like me, I was nominated for editing, and I'm, editing, you don't even know what went on in that room. Like I've edited stuff where the director was like, don't, I'm going to give this to you, don't change anything, and I just want you to play it back. And if I tell you to cut out 2 frames, you cut out 2 frames. And I've had that happen where you literally have zero control over what's going on. And then stuff like Looney Tunes, where it was like a hands-on creative thing, where it was like you were actually playing a huge role creatively. Even in some ways, like you'd write things because it was like such a chaotic process. Like you'd do something in editing, and it was like, let's write that into the show, and they'd go back and redraw it, so it's like way more involved, and I'm like, how do you differentiate between
Yeah.
which form of editing, like who deserves the award, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
The
like
guy that did exactly what he was told.
yeah, you'll see like some guy be like, oh, well, the award shows you have no idea how much time and thought goes into this. I'll have to bring up like editing and like because I never even thought about that. Like we really can't decide who the best editor is unless you have like a Truman Show set up in their studio.
People don't even understand the job, like
Yeah.
it's different, like depending on who you're working under can be totally different, like different experiences. Like I remember reading in the magazine that the Editors Guild sends. They sent out this magazine that I never read. But it had this article in it that was all about, I think it was when the Kevin Spacey scandal happened, and they were like, I don't remember which movie it was, but they were like, we got to replace every shot of Kevin Spacey in this movie, and we have 3 weeks to do it. They wrote like a whole article about it, and I was just like, this is just like an animation editor replaces like 20,000 panels, of like storyboard, like in an animatic, like once every 3 days. It's like it's being revised all the time, and you have to cut it all in, and you're all constantly cutting new stuff in. And they're talking about having to replace like, I don't know, 40 shots of Kevin Spacey in this movie, and there's a whole article about it. It was almost like these people worked on the Manhattan Project or something, I just thought, I was like, this is kind of just what you do, you know?
Yeah.
Especially if you have special effects in your movie, you're always going to be getting new versions of the special effects shot. And it's not like, okay, so you had to replace these shots. I just don't get it. But then people, in the Academy and stuff, in the awards shows, they're like, oh my gosh, like they had to replace every shot of Kevin Spacey in this movie. They don't know how simple that is to do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy because my brother and me, we just got I can't remember what it's FL Studio because I remember because I keep thinking it's NFL Studio. Uh,
NFL Studio.
yeah, yeah, that's because like he told me, I'm like, NFL Studio makes music. I was really confused for a second, but we got that and like he's just been able to like kind of take out instruments, like just get the vocals, get the mu like all this stuff, and like I'll see stuff like people talk about like, uh-oh, we got to remove Kevin Spacey from this movie, and I'm just thinking like this has got to be like a way like simpler than they're making it out to be. Like
I
I don't
mean,
know.
it's the most fundamental thing you do as an editor is like replace shots. I mean, I was thinking like, well, you had to have replaced other shots because it's like there's always different versions of every shot. like color grading versions, and you're always getting updated stuff. So you're always doing that. It just didn't make any sense. I'm just like, they're gonna give you the shots, right? Like you don't have to make them. You don't have to like
Yeah.
go shoot them. They're gonna shoot them and they're gonna give them to you, and you cut them in. Like I just don't get it, man. This is
Yeah.
why I can't be like a face in Hollywood, is because I say stuff like this, where I'm just like, that's not hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I don't know, like yeah, it would just be so weird because like you just like even I saw Netflix bought Warner Brothers. Was it like today?
Yeah, I think the
Or-
news went out today. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just you see just some of the stuff that the Netflix CEO is saying. It's like, we're not out there to like close down cinemas, but then also he's like saying like the same day, it's like cinemas should just die anyways. Like
Yeah.
no one's going to see them, and it's just like the insanity of like the whole situation. And
No,
it's
it's
just
hilarious because that has just like that's been the talk. They're like the Oscars. I read like a headline that was like the Oscars needs to they need to ban movies that don't play in theaters. And then the next headline is like Netflix buys Warner
yeah,
Brothers.
yeah,
And I was just like,
yeah.
well, that's over.
Yeah, I don't know. It's insane, and like like Snyder fans are like having a field day because they're like, oh, they're gonna bring back the Snyderverse, and like totally
Yeah.
forgetting about like Rebel Moon and everything like that. It's just the absolute and just total lunacy of Hollywood is kind of insane.
Oh,
It's just
it's hilarious. Like
yeah.
when I first started at Warner Brothers, they had just been bought by AT&T. And so AT&T had just taken control of the company. And I just started working, and we had this big event like in the big theater on the lot where they basically showcased what everybody was working on in the animation division. And there were these jokes. I remember there's like this one show had these all these jokes in it about how a telephone company is like really the best choice. It's like the best choice for running an animation studio would be a telephone company. And it was like making all these like jokes at the expense of AT&T. And I couldn't, it was like so surreal because it really was absurd. It was just like AT&T buys
Yeah.
Warner Brothers.
So
Okay.
I'm not sure. Does Netflix now own AT&T? Is that how that
Well, I
works?
think then AT&T a few years later, I think, sold it to Discovery,
Oh yeah.
which is who had it up until now. So I was working there when that sale happened. And by the way, every time one of these sales happens, if you're working at the company, everyone at the company immediately goes into a mode of being afraid they're going to lose their job,
Yeah, I bet.
uh, because they have to consolidate everything. So like everything that's going on, everybody's like, okay, everybody, like we might get canceled, like this week. So we're all like, every time the phone rings, you're like, oh my God, we're canceled. So that's gonna be what they're going through for a little while. Of course, there's
Okay.
not a lot going on there right now. There's not a lot being produced there right now. But
Yeah. Speaking of which, my brother's gonna be bothering me about this if I don't ask. Did you know anyone working on The Day the Earth Blew Up?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
really?
yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah. It was the same people that I worked with. So like, yeah, I actually, it's exciting that you brought that up because Looney Tune. When I worked on the Looney Tunes thing, that project was very like not defined, and it was very exciting because of that. It was like we got in, and it was like Sam Register, uh, who's the president of the animation division at Warner Brothers. He just like made this public announcement. He goes, "We're going to make 200 minutes, or no, not 200, 1,000." He goes, "We're going to make 1,000 minutes of Looney Tunes cartoon." And people are like, the press is like, is it going to be like a series? He's like, I don't know. I don't know. We're going to make 1,000 minutes of it. And there was no definition, right? So then I had heard about that. I was like, that's kind of interesting. The show I was working on got canceled. It was like a preschool kind of show about the Wizard of Oz, and that was my first show at Warner Brothers. Got canceled, and then I'm going like, well, I guess maybe I'm going to lose my job. And then the Greg Emerson, who's still there, the guy that's like in charge of post, he calls me up and he's like, "Would you want to work on Looney Tunes?" And I'm like, "Is this guy for real?" Like, yeah. But I got lucky because it wasn't a bad. I was thinking, but it could be a bad adaptation because there have been bad adaptations of it.
Yeah.
But then when I got in there, I realized like there was really nobody knew what we were supposed to be doing, and the guys that they got like Pete Browngart and they got like all of these cartoonists who were like legit cartoonists. Like they would create cartoons from the cartoon stage instead of like writing a script, right? They would just sit down and start drawing, and they'd draw these funny cartoons. And they're like, that's how we're going to make the show. Every short is going to be a single person's thing, and he's going to make it, and it's going to be his thing. And so it made it like super interesting to work on. All of them were different lengths. They had like different tones. They were like all over the place. It felt very much like the old Looney Tunes stuff from like the 30s, which was what we were trying to emulate, like 1930s Looney Tunes. So it was like great. I still love it. Everything that we made like 200 shorts. I still love it. Um, but then they were like, we're going to make a Porky and Daffy movie, right? While we were working on that, I started hearing about that. And it was Pete. It was, the guy that ran our show saying, that's what we're going to do. I was like, man, that's because Porky and Daffy are like my favorite characters. And then I ended up moving on from Looney Tunes to some other stuff. Like I was working on, for a year, I was working just oddball stuff like Scooby Doo. I did two Scooby Doo movies. Only one of them came out. And edited a little bit on just here and there on other shows. And then I helped get this Superman series kind of, I edited the pilot for it. And then later on, they had me come back and edit the show. So I was doing that, I think, when Day the Earth blew up finally went into production. So like I was working on something else. But the other editor that was on Looney Tunes got to edit that. Um, and I stepped in for like one day where I needed somebody to cover because he was out or something, and I came in and tinkered with it a little bit, and the stuff that I saw was like the funniest stuff I've ever seen. Like I only worked on it for like a day. I was like, this is gonna be so good. I wish I had gotten to edit it, but the guy that did edit it deserved it. Like he's a great editor. We worked together on the shorts, so it was basically the same crew, except I wasn't there.
So like what was like the in-house if you can even talk about this, I'm not sure how that stuff works, but what was like the in-house reaction when they kind of shelved that movie?
Well, it's weird. That kind of thing happens more often than you might think. Like I worked on I worked on a Batman animated movie. I was just finishing it. They were almost done with the animatic, and I helped them lock the animatic. And it was like it was the long Halloween. Halloween.
Oh,
The comic. It was the adaptation of the big comic Long Halloween, and like
yeah.
so I helped them lock the animatic. We got it all kind of squared away, and then they're like, hey, they want to do the Batman, the one with Pattinson, and the announcements were going out and everything. And they came in and they're like, they don't know what they want to do, but they think they might want to do Long Halloween. So they're like, we're gonna not release this animated Batman movie, version of that. We're just gonna put it on a shelf until we see what they're gonna do with the live action thing. So that was just shelved for like 2 or 3 years, something like that, in
Oh
the
man.
animatic stage. Eventually did get finished and put out, but that kind of stuff happens a lot because it's like the clash between, you know, there there's no like real mixing between the live action side of Warner Brothers and the animation side. But the live action side, if they say something like that, like they basically just go with what they say. If the guy's like, I think I might want to do Long Halloween. It's like, okay, your movie's not coming out now. Like your animated
Man.
movie's not coming out. So, I don't know. I don't remember what was happening with Day the Earth blew up. I feel like Day the Earth blew up should have done better. Um, I think it didn't get like the advertising it deserved. Um, because it's great.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
yeah, it's awesome.
and it's like a 2D animated movie, which is unheard of. And it came out in theaters, and it was really good animation. It was like
Yeah,
solid, like it was like a return to form for Looney Tunes. Which has it's how I felt about the shorts that we did too. But a movie is crazy, like a theatrical release for a movie.
yeah. I remember like I had absolutely no idea that it even came out, and then just like one Friday night, my brother was like, "Hey, this actually this actually happened." Like, what was it like, Ketchup Studios or something?
Yeah,
It's like so he's telling me like Ketchup Studios bought this and is actually releasing it. And I'm like, oh, okay. Zero expectations, but I'm like walked in and just blew me away. And I'm just sitting there thinking like, wow. It's like Warner Brothers like can make good stuff, but like they just
yeah.
have to make they have to make
Well,
it.
you know why too? It was like the people, and I don't know why they allowed this, but they let this group of people do what they wanted to do. Like they let Pete do what he wanted to do, and they let all these cartoonists just have. I mean, the stuff that was being thrown at the wall in the shorts, I would cut stuff together and be like, they're not going to let us show this to anybody, you know? Like, and I think maybe that had something to do with why the movie. I don't know what it was that caused the movie to be delayed like that, but like on the shorts, there were a few shorts that didn't. I don't think you can see them anywhere, for different reasons. But it's like because remember there were you know I, maybe I'm not supposed to talk about this, but like there were a bunch of people talking about like Elmer Fudd doesn't have his gun, like they're like they took his gun away because they're like anti-gun or something. I was like no, like I cut a whole bunch of shorts that where he has the gun. I think that they just didn't buy those shorts, so you didn't see them.
Huh.
But there's all kinds of stuff like that where, or I would just see things where I'm like, they're totally, it'd be so violent that you'd think like they're never gonna release that, you know? Like I remember there was this one where Bugs Bunny is getting into this rivalry with like a beach bodybuilder, and Bugs keeps like rigging his weights and stuff so that the guy gets hurt. And there's one where he takes the bar out from between the weights and he puts a sword between the weights. So it's instead of a bar, it's a sword. And the guy like lifts the bar above his head and then the sword slices through his entire body, like, and he just like falls apart. And I was like, they're never gonna let us put that on TV. Like, and I don't know if it did come out on TV. It was so funny that I laughed so hard.
Yeah, it's I don't know, that always baffles me. Like the bat embargo, is that what they call it? Where
Was
like
that the Batwoman movie? Or
ah, well, there's that, but like I thought I might be saying the name wrong, but like when they made like the animated series, I thought because they don't have Robin in like those first bunch of episodes. And I think that was because Tim Burton wasn't sure if he wanted to use Robin in Returns or
oh
not.
yeah.
And then he eventually came back, but like that always just
Because
like
all the marketing was like really tied together, even though you could just say like it's a different universe.
yeah.
Because they were using like the Danny Elfman like theme music and all of that, and they were kind of like trying to tie the marketing together, but they were really different
Yeah.
visually. So, but yeah, they're the same kind of thing. They're like, well, but Tim might want to use the character, so it's just like just don't worry about it, you
Yeah.
know. But
Yeah.
that's how the business is.
Yeah, I don't know. It just blows me away because like Dick Grayson's my favorite DC character, so just like the amount of times he's been tied up in like the Bat embargo just like blows me away because they did it again. Like he couldn't be in Teen Titans and the Batman show at the same time. And I was just like I would like love both shows. Like Teen Titans I love, I would love the Batman way more if, like Dick Grayson was a part of the whole thing.
It's so strange that they do that too, because they do also release tons of shows that have strange treatments of different characters or have the same
Yeah,
character treated in different ways. But then suddenly we don't want to do that this time. And
right.
like I don't
Yeah.
like why.
Yeah, it's like like look at the comic books, like the amount of times like, okay, Frank Miller, you can do this thing, Tim Sale, Jeff, you can do this thing. I'm gonna let you do this thing. We're gonna have the main continuity running the whole time. It's like
Yeah,
nobody cares. It's like people are either gonna
right.
like
It's
it or not. But
like all those
movies,
DC animated things that like Bruce Timm has He's still
Yeah.
there, by the way.
Oh, really?
Uh, but they're doing all those Bruce Timms. They're doing all those like DC animated movies that are not connected to the live action versions of them, you know. And I'm
Yeah.
just kind of like, but then every once in a while you get that thing where it's like, well, this director he wants to do this, so we don't know if we want to let you do it.
Yeah.
And they always listen to the live action guys because it's like,
I mean,
you know, that's the big.
I was gonna ask if like has the shoe ever been on the other foot and like the animation Warner Brothers has just been so excited about that they kind of tell the live action guys to kind of shelf the
Never,
project for a bit.
never would
I
never
didn't think
happen.
so, but it's
No,
worth a
no.
shot.
Now there's
Yeah.
like it's just well, it seems to me, I don't know actually how the thing about it is like the animation division at Warner Brothers, I think has like kept the company afloat multiple times. But it's everywhere in Hollywood. I think animation is seen as a sort of smaller, more inferior thing for some reason. So it's the power never goes in that direction, at least in my experience, you know.
Yeah. Well, I've got about two more questions. One's slightly more interesting than the other, but I really want to know the first one. What is your favorite fight scene from the Matrix movies?
Oh man. I think it's the chateau fight.
Yes.
Uh because it's just it's really beautiful. Like I love how it's like all planned out and how the whole, you know, sort of lobby of the chateau is systematically destroyed, you know,
Yep.
throughout that whole sequence. And it's just like beautiful to look at. Like
Oh, it's insane. And the wire work, like having to shoot like everyone individually and it looks seamless in the final cut.
it's fantastic. And the music too, like Rob Dugan scored it. And I used to talk to Rob Dugan all the time, actually. Like
Oh, really?
he was sort of like a long distance friend, and I haven't heard from him in a long time. But we talked about that a lot, like how he was working on it, and he had like a VHS. They gave him a VHS tape of the scene, and he was like in his studio, like, and he pressed play on the VHS machine, and then try to sync everything like by hand. And I was just like, that's awesome.
That is.
But he actually scored that scene. He didn't. It wasn't just a piece of music that he already did. Like
Oh, really?
he actually scored it, which is cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's just such a good scene. Just absolutely perfect. It really it makes a lot of sense that it was like specifically for that scene. Um,
Everything about that sequence, it feels like its own little thing.
yeah.
Like we're gonna do all of these weapons and all these props, and this whole set is gonna be specifically for this scene and nothing else.
Yeah.
And the music too is this beautiful piece of music that's just for this. You never hear it anywhere else in the whole series. I don't know.
Yeah.
It holds up as its own thing. It's just a really
Yeah.
beautiful thing to look at.
They could have released that in the theater and like they could just redo it periodically. I'd pay money to go and see that on the big screen again. Like that's just
Yeah.
like it's just it's so good. And I see like a lot of people like I won't mention anyone specifically, but I'll see like some people online or something say that like oh the best Matrix fight is like the subway fight. Like there's no good fight scenes in any of the other Matrix movies. And like you'll look at like some of the stuff that they've done and you're like I don't think they really know what they're talking about. But like anytime that I talk to people like you who like actually have, you know, experience actually filming stuff like this and really going for it, it's always the chateau fight because like it's just there's so much going on in it.
But
It
you
really,
know how hard it was.
yeah,
You know how hard it was. Like, and like you could see like what it would take to film a sequence that's that long.
yeah,
And also it just has a structure to it. Like it builds up and it goes to these different places and it builds up to crescendos and there's these big shots that happen at exactly the right moments. It took like a ton of planning to do that.
yeah. And
And
having
it's one of the
weapons on
least,
top of that.
yeah, like all the weapons where it was like, we need to know what weapons, because they choreographed the fight and they were like, well, we want them to use these weapons at these times.
Yeah,
So then they had to design a set that would make the weapons available at those moments. Right. So
right.
all this stuff had to be coordinated together. It's like, yeah, he's gonna grab a sword right now, and then they'd have to be like, well, how do we make it so that there's a sword right there? You know,
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, I don't know, that really is just one of the best fight scenes of all time.
it's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great.
And the final question I had for you, it's another kind of a weird question, and I'm not sure how much you can talk about it, so don't feel pressured, but on X, this has been like months ago, so I might even be remembering it wrong.
It's gonna be something I said while I was drunk
Yeah, well, do
on
you
X.
is it true that you at least at one time had a piece of the True Cross?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh,
There's
really?
we have one here.
Okay.
Um, so the story, of course, in 326 AD, Saint Helena made a pilgrimage to Jerusalem, and the relics of the crucifixion were there. They were, they were these things were even through persecutions were preserved. Uh, she ended up bringing, I think part of it went to Constantinople. I might be misremembering some of this, so please feel free to do your own research. But like, she part of it went to Constantinople, part of it went back to Rome, and then tiny pieces of it were distributed as relics to individuals and different kingdoms and all of this. And one of the places where they made these particular little they call them thecas. It's like the little tiny reliquary that these things are in. Mine is like in the shape of the of a cross, and it has like a little pin that you pull out, and it opens so you can see like the wax seal and all this stuff. And that's like it's a really common type of reliquary to Toulouse, France, and it was known that people would carry relics of the True Cross inside of these little thecas. And we ended up finding this altar cross. It's a Black Forest altar cross. So it's made like in this forest, like in the border of Germany and France, where they make like cuckoo clocks out of this like this black wood. And so we found this Black Forest altar cross, and this Thika was in the middle of it, and you could see the relic in the middle. And I was like, it's a relic of the True Cross, and I it was in a thrift store,
Oh, really?
and I started. It was for sale for like 4 grand or something like that. And I started trying to figure out if it was the real thing. And they ended up giving me the name of the woman that owned it, and I talked to her on the phone, and she gave me like provenance for like where it came from, how it got there, and she let me open it so I could see the wax seal on the inside and all this. Um, I spent like a week doing this. This wasn't all in one day. Like I kept coming back and calling and doing all this research. Uh, and I ended up telling her, so it's canonically illegal to sell relics. It's a a sin called simony,
Yeah.
right? Selling holy objects and selling blessings and things like this. But you can, if your intention is to rescue it from the canonically illegal market, then you can buy it, right? So, but I just like I don't have that kind of money, and so I told this woman I was like, like it's this is a sin. I called her on the phone. I was like, you're selling relics, that's canonically illegal. But she didn't care. I knew that she didn't care. Um, and but I ended up talking her down quite a bit. And I got her to lower the price to a point where it was still too much money, but I was like, my wife and her like, we couldn't walk. We were like, we can't walk away from this, knowing that this thing is just it's just going to be lost.
Yeah.
So we ended up buying it, and then the intention was to put it in a church somewhere. But the problem was that a lot of relics from the time there's like a like a compartment in the back of the reliquary where you put like a document, and it has like a seal and like it shows like the provenance of this thing. It shows that it's absolutely for sure real. And you match that with like the wax seal and all this, it didn't have the documentation with it. So we ended up finding out you can't publicly display a relic for the purpose of like public veneration if you don't have that document. So we couldn't give it to a church. They were like, we can't do anything with it. So we just kept it. We still have it, and that's
Wow.
the story.
Yeah. That's pretty crazy. No, because I remember this has been like months ago. I was like on vacation or something, and we were like walking into a restaurant. Like I saw that on X, and I'm like, wait, what? And then it just like, life goes on. And then when I was like getting all the notes ready, I'm like, I need to ask him about that because that's amazing. That's amazing.
It's not easy to get that kind of stuff now either
Yeah.
because fraud is common. A lot of times when you see these like relics for sale, it's it can be fake, and that's why it took me like a week of trying to do research on it and stuff. Try like
Yeah.
absolutely figure out. I was like, I'm not going to buy a fake relic, right?
Right.
Um, and so I did all this research to make sure that it was real before I bought it. But yeah, it's not. And then also they don't issue first class relics to people anymore. It used to be that you could like go and request like a piece of the bone of like, Saint Therese of Lisieux or something, and they give it to you, but they don't really do that anymore, and especially with like pieces of the cross.
Yeah.
So it usually just ends up it's in somebody's family or a monastery disillusions, and like the stuff is divided up among people locally, and it just ends up in a family. That's usually how these things happen. But it's hard to just get one, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's actually really interesting. Because like I was reading that tweet. I remember like, wait, like so much has to like go into like actually morally morally getting that. So I'm like, I'm sure he went through the proper channels, but like I don't even know what that would be like given the situation. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
I was just like, it's already in the wrong hands.
Yeah.
Uh, so I was like, well, that was part of it was like trying to authenticate it, but also trying to figure out if it was okay for me to purchase it. I'm like, can I buy this? Because you're not supposed to buy or sell relics. But what I ended up finding out was that if you're not planning to resell it, like if you're not buying it and you're trying to make a profit or something, you can do that because you're rescuing it, right? Like you're taking it off the market. So I found out it was okay to do that. That was part of like what I had to figure out during that week was like, is it even okay for me to do this? You know,
Yeah.
because I couldn't readily find that information. There's like not a lot of people talking about this out there, so I had to do a
Right.
whole bunch of research on it.
Yeah, there's no Reddit there's no Reddit forum for this to be like just
Yeah,
hey guys.
at least not one where you can trust what they're going to say.
Yeah,
It's
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's been really awesome talking to you. This has been a super great time.
I've
I
had
guess,
fun too.
oh, thank you. Um, is there anything you can tell the audience about Eon Blade before it comes out?
Well, EONBLADE is my latest project. Last year, I raised enough money to make one third of it. I'm making it kind of like a series like I did with Danger Element. I've shot about a third of it, and maybe sometime next year you'll get to see it. But the trailers on YouTube and stuff, you can go to my website, johnallensoares.com, and see updates on all that kind of stuff. That's what I'm doing now.
Yeah,
And
it's
also me and my friend Kenny are doing a a live stream every
oh
Wednesday.
yeah.
Uh, even though
Yeah.
we kind of like botched the first one, but we are planning to do that every Wednesday. So like you can check that out too. It's a Wednesday at 5 Pacific time, I guess.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, thanks for the shout out on that, by the way. I was just like watching the I was watching it as I was just doing like making all the notes and everything, and I heard that. I'm like, oh, that was really nice of that was really nice of him. Way too much praise for me, but really nice of him. Yeah.
It was just like a recent conversation I had with you. It's like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I just talked to this guy.
Yeah, well, because like I thought the timing of that was like so weird because like I don't even know like what like I was just like, oh, I'm gonna email him just through the business email, see if he'd be interested in doing this. And then I see that live stream. I'm like, wow, this is like all happening like very, very close together. It's kind of surreal, like because I just like have my phone with me because I have to check my work email when I'm on the clock, but then that also pulls up my personal email just like as the notification, and it's been absolutely surreal seeing like John Allen Soares emailed you, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's that's insane. It's like it's very awesome.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
just some dude, like I don't. It happens that I've made stuff that people have seen, but not. I'm not a big celebrity or anything. Like most of the people probably watching this are probably not going to know who I am.
yeah.
So
Well, I mean that's I don't know, I think that's just part of the appeal. Like it's not like you're just like Netflix CEO. It's like talking out both sides of your mouth is like it's just very real guy. It's like yeah, I actually believe that like he made all this stuff and like he's involved in it. Like
this,
it's
this
not
is why like I like doing this kind of stuff too, because it's like I hate the Hollywood sort of like rule set where it's like you got to maintain your mystique.
yeah
Don't you got to like only do these certain things, only make these certain appearances. I'm just like I just want to talk to people about what I'm doing. It's kind of like why I'm doing all of it. I want to make my stuff and I want to share it with people and I want to talk about what they're doing and what I'm doing. I'm not in it for the weird branding stuff. And,
yeah
that's
not in
probably
it
why
for
I'm not rich.
yeah not in it for the get on the cereal box or anything.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
but
why I failed.
you were on the Go Sukashi cereal box.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay,
That we used in Danger Element. Yeah.
yeah,
The one
yeah,
that's
I do have to ask one more stupid question just because I'm a huge nerd about Go Sukashi. What cereal did you mix to make the Go Sukashi cereal? Because it looks like part of it's Cookie Crisps.
I don't know. Justin did that. Um, and he was all into cereals and Justin's like really, of course, like both of us are really into like 1980s branding stuff. And for him, that's also food branding and cereal, like Saturday morning cartoon advertisements, like where they'd show you cereal and stuff like that. So it was probably like a couple of those, like I don't know if it was Fruit Loops and I don't know. He would know though. Like if he's probably screaming at the screen right now as he's watching this, like telling us what it was because
Justin, if you're watching this, leave a leave a comment. Let us know what that cereal was.
he knows. I
This is
trust
very,
him.
very important. Put that on the bucket list to try the Go Sukashi combination. All right. Well, thanks again so much for doing this. This has been like super, super insane. Like definitely really, really exciting. This has been really
Cool.
I can't overstate how awesome this is.
Well, thanks for
Yeah.
having me. I mean, it's like it works for me. I mean, it's like you're just saying all kinds of nice things about me, so
Oh,
it's
well, you definitely
definitely
deserve it.
definitely a good experience for me.
Yeah. Well, you have a great weekend and yeah, I've never really done this before, so I feel like the ending of the Chris Farley show where like he just doesn't know how
Yeah,
to end it.
I never know how to do that either. I'm just
Yeah.
like, well,
Yeah. It's like I might just edit it like have like the so long or like that's all folks like just like the circle
yeah,
go up. I'm gonna try to do that. That'd be
end it
fun.
in post.
Yeah, yeah. It's like this whole thing's gonna be changed. I'm gonna edit my voice, make it sound better. Whole thing. All right. Well, yeah. This will probably be like the time I have the little swirly thing. Yeah. Thanks again. Yeah. This.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'll see you on X probably.
All right. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
where we usually cross paths.
Yep. Yep. Looking forward to EONBLADE too. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, hopefully I can get something out that people can watch sooner than later. I don't want to drag it out like I did with Danger Element.
yeah. Well, that first like trailer you have, like the fight scene in it, like blew me away because I was thinking like when I saw it the first time. I was like, oh, okay, it's gonna be like Danger Element. He's like, gonna fist fight everyone, and then you pull out the weapon, and like it keeps changing, and like every time it changes, I'm just like, this is the this is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, I want it. It needed to be something bigger, something that caught people's. And I kept that a secret for years, like that weapon. Uh, I kept it a secret because like somebody's going to steal this. I was
Yeah,
like, I had this idea and I drew a picture of it and I showed Ted because he's the guy that built it. And I was like, don't tell anybody about this because somebody's going to do it. I felt like it was just too, like, it was one of those, I don't know where the idea came from, but I was like, people are going to love this and it's going to get stolen before the movie comes out.
yeah, it definitely blew my mind. I think when it comes out, a lot of people are gonna be mad they didn't think of it first. Yeah. All right. Well, this is the Midwest goodbye. This is what this
Okay.
is. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All
I
right.
get what you
So,
mean.
yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Thanks again. Uh, yeah. I'll talk to you later, I guess.
All right. It's been fun, man.
All right. Thanks.